Yeah, welcome back. So that is the man we've got here in the studios right now, Mr. Braimoh, the governorship candidate of Action Alliance for the forthcoming Kogi governorship elections. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
So how's your campaign coming on?
It's going on very well. In the last few months, we've been going around the entire state, selling our candidacy to the electorate.
So how is that playing out? Because, I mean, several people will always see these concerns raised about security. INEC themselves raised concerns about security in the state. How are you dealing with it?
Well, in terms of security, so far, there have been some threats here and there. But so far, in terms of our own campaign, we've been going around the entire state. We've not had any attack in any form in our campaign, because we've been focused on issues that affect the state. It's an issue-based campaign that we've been doing. We'll not attack or insult any personality or any individual across the state. So we've been focused on issues.
But do you consider that a genuine concern, security, violence in the forthcoming election?
Of course, it is a genuine concern, because everybody feels like, even though you don't have violence at this stage, there's possibility of violence during the election day itself. So it's a huge concern at the moment because of some certain things you pick up from here and there as to people planning to say, we'll ensure that where they're not popular, they will create violence, just to make sure that the votes there don't count. That threat is there. And those are the things that we hear every day. That is a huge concern. And then we urge that we believe that the security agencies will look into that. Security, 2-3 days to election, and on election day itself.
So what would you say to those who think, well, you may not be considered the front runner, that's why maybe nobody is threatening you or trying to drag you or pull you down? How about that?
Maybe some 3 months or 4 months ago, that consideration may not be there then.
Okay.
But today, I'm sure the governing power will tell you. I'm sure the other candidates will tell you.
Why do you think you're a front runner?
Because I have the solution to the problems of the state. Our primary problem in the state is poverty. And I have the solution. Because I've been the only candidate that's been able to clearly state my vision, clearly engage with electorate with my vision, a clear vision of wealth creation and wealth distribution. Because the challenge of our state is poverty. We've had 4 administrations over 2 decades, and our people and poverty has continued to increase on a daily basis in our state. There's nobody in Kogi State today that is earning money, that the number of requests that they get on a daily basis is not more than what they are earning. Nobody can survive attending to the requests they get of people begging for money, begging for food, shelter. I mean, there are a whole lot of issues in terms of poverty in the state.
So, for you now, your candidature, Kogi West, I know you heard that too, there are concerns. Much as Kogi West wants their sons to occupy that position, but they've got a challenge. Who do they choose? There are 3 of you going there, and clearly 3 of you going from the same place, your votes will be divided.
Yes, there's been, that agitation is there. So we have the Kogi West agenda, we have the Ibira 1616 agenda, we have the Igala agenda. But the reality is this: there's this constituency that is the largest in the state that nobody's paying attention to. That is the constituency of the poor people. They are the largest in the state. There's this commonality among all that are poor. And we're focused on ethnicity, we're focused on religion, we're focused on where people come from. But I'm focused on the fact that we want to move our people out of poverty. We want to move from poverty to prosperity. This is my assignment, and that's why I'm focused on that. I'm not focused on the fact I've never campaigned on the fact that I'm from Kogi West. I'm focused on the fact that there is a bigger problem in our state. The bigger problem is poverty. And we're focused on ethnicity and region as to where the governor comes from, we've had governors from the East for about 19 years. That has not stopped poverty in the East. The current governor is from the Central. That has not stopped poverty in the Central. And, even in his own word, people are poor, people can't eat. People are begging to eat in Kogi State today. The majority are begging for them to be able to survive. And we're here talking about politics of, I'm from the West, I'm from the Central, I'm from the East, it should be our turn, it should not be our turn. I'm focused on the largest constituency, which is the constituency of the poor.
That may be your thought, your thinking, which many will say they don't begrudge you for that. But is that what resonates amongst the people? Because some people also say the last presidential elections, many people have learned several lessons in terms of what to focus on, what not to overlook. Because some of them will say, look, if you hadn't overlooked some things now, who knows by now? Because if you look at opposition votes, it surpasses the ruling party's votes put together. So for this particular one, you still don't think that that is a major consideration since you're focused on the larger constituency?
The point is this: what is the ultimate goal? Is the ultimate goal having a governor from your region? Or the ultimate goal is being able to help the state and the people out of poverty? That's my question.
Yeah, not bad, but I'm asking that in terms of how people vote, have you seen a difference in the pattern of how people vote to say this consideration will override? Yeah.
Of course, the sentiment will always be there. And I think in Kogi West today, amongst the three of us running, a survey will be able to tell you clearly that I don't see the other two from Kogi West being able to defeat me in Kogi West.
But the others will tell you, why not? Because they will say they've got more political experience than yourself. They've been in the Senate, they've been in the House. Some of them who are contesting say they can wield that as some sort of, bragging rights for these elections.
What have you achieved? What have they achieved in those positions? How well have they represented the people in those positions? So when you look at the fact that they've been there, they've been in power, they've been in the reps, they've been in the Senate, that to me, it's even more of a disadvantage to them today. And when you talk about the spread, because if you're popular in your federal constituency and you're not popular in the East or in the Central, that doesn't guarantee you of being able to have the spread across the state. We have the spread across the state in terms of acceptability. A candidature, my candidacy is well accepted in the East and in the Central today, more than any of the two.
Well, you say that poverty is a big challenge in Kogi State. So what specifically do you plan to do to end poverty, and to what extent?
All right, the cause of the poverty is because we don't have enough money in circulation. So because we don't have enough money in circulation, what we need to do is to drive in money. Why don't we have enough money in circulation? Because we've been dependent on federal allocation in over 2 decades. Dependency on federal allocation is the reason why there's so much poverty. And it will get worse because today the federal allocation will keep going down with 87 trillion debt of the federal government, and last year using about 96% of our revenue.
Even though they received highest recently for some time.
To service debt. Now, the situation in Kogi State is this. You look at it from our budget. This year's budget is 172 billion naira. 58% of this budget is recurrent expenditure, 42% capital projects. 7.5% of that money is going to go back to federal government as value-added tax. How much is left for a state of 4.4 million people on 29,833 square kilometers? This is the situation we're dealing with. And we say we don't have enough money in circulation. What we're going to do is to drive in cash flow. It means we must help our people to make money. How? You must have product or services you are exchanging for money to come into the state. We must help our people to make money through our START agenda. STAT, solid minerals, tourism, agriculture, and trade as means of driving in cash flow into our economy. Because if you don't empower your people, because if you say a state is poor, it means the aggregate population of the state are poor. If you say a state is rich, it means the aggregate population, they are rich. So we must help our people to make money. If our people are not making money, the government cannot make money. So that's how we intend to drive in cash flow into our economy. From solid minerals, for instance, there's a process to it. It doesn't belong to the state. It belongs to the federal government. So what we're going to do is this, through the process of prospecting, licensing, exploration, and exploitation, help our people to facilitate license from federal government, bring in technical partners, and give necessary guarantee to help them access funding for solid minerals, for commercial scale solid minerals. So we create products that we take out of the state for money to come into our economy. Tourism, on tourism, for instance, commercial organization.
Before you go to tourism, for solid minerals, where did you, how, the requisite skills required? You know, it's not just because, I mean, in your profession too, you know how you do your planning to provide housing, but for solid minerals, where is the requisite skill set for them to, because it goes beyond just getting prospective license?
I'll tell you, because I have experience in the sector. I talked about bringing in technical partners. So you have technical partners in that regard, and then what you need, you get the licenses, get technical partners, then issue the necessary guarantees to be able to access funding for exploration and exploitation. There are exploration that can be done within 3 to 6 months, like lithium, like tantalite. You can carry out this exploration within a short period of time.
Let's go to Ayo.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Those are some of the questions that I was going to ask you, really, because what are the competitive advantages or competitive edge that Kogi State has that, in your opinion, over the past 4 administrations, as you say, have not been explored? And you mentioned solid minerals now. You know, according to the law, that that is under the exclusive authority of the federal government. So what's the plan to explore that to the advantage of Kogi State?
Well, federal government has not stopped any prospective investor from accessing the licenses. So what we intend to do is to help our people to access license from the federal government. That will help us to be able to take advantage of the solid minerals because it belongs to the federal government. But it not stopped anybody interested. So we'll help our people to get these licenses and bring in the technical partners for them. In terms of other advantage that we have, the geographical configuration of Kogi State, we are bounded by 10 states with a combined population of about 56 million people. This is a huge market that is bigger than Lagos market. And we want to take advantage of that. In terms of tourism, for instance, we have tourism. I mean, simple definition is commercial organization and operation of holidays and visits to places of interest. So we have several of those places of interest in Kogi State. We have the confluence, amazing view. The confluence, we have Agbaja Plateau, we have Mount Patti, that's about 1,500 feet above sea level, right in the heart of the city of Lokoja. We have Usikoko Cave, we have Omi Dam. Omi Dam, for instance, is a fantastic, amazing view, surrounded by hills, and has 4 major benefits that we can take advantage of: for irrigation, for water, potable water for our people, for power generation, and as well as a resort for tourism. We have Oraha in Mopa, we have Obangogo in Kaba. Obangogo, for instance, there's a spring water in Obangogo. We have Ikpo Cave in Ogidi, and then we have several monuments. We have the Eton Bridge in Olamaboro, and we have several other monuments in our state.
Clearly,
our goal is to target 2 million visitors into our state annually in the next 3 to 4 years. When we achieve this, 3 million visitors, 2 million visitors annually. If they spend 100,000 naira inside our state, that means we've been able to attract a cash inflow of about 200 billion naira. If they stay in Kogi State, average of 5 nights in a year, it means we would have been able to sell 10 million nights of hotels and short-let sales in a year. Now, at an average of 100,000 naira a day, a night.
Yes, my apologies. Clearly, you know, the plan is copious. But you know, you said something about the huge population of people who are living below the poverty line in Kogi State, and that is certainly very, very concerning. But you would also recall that in our political lexicon, one of the things that we've heard said by politicians or maybe some political analysts is that poverty has been weaponized in a way that it is always to the advantage of certain category of people. So let's hypothesize on that for a minute. Suppose poverty has been weaponized against your candidacy or your victory in this election. What would be your game plan?
At this point, we've been engaging people. We've had over 150 town hall meetings so far, engaging our people, and we've been able to educate them sufficiently to understand the fact that exploiting the poverty that you're in will only last you for maybe, I mean, when they give you money, it will only last you for a day or 2 days. And you're saying, don't say anything. You don't have a right to ask me questions for the next 4 years. If that is a good business, you know, a profitable venture, and of course the answer is no. So what we're doing is engaging our people and being able to help them understand the fact that if you sell your votes, for instance, that's part of the ways of exploiting the poverty of the people, you know, against our candidacy. But in terms of our engagement of people, people are beginning to see the light, understand the fact that if you give me 10,000 for my vote, 10,000 will not last me for more than 2-3 days. Okay. So therefore, I would rather make my choice because they are tired, they are frustrated. And money today is failing them.
Okay.
And it will surely fail in this election. Yeah. Vote buying will fail largely. I can't say 100%. Yeah. But largely, vote buying is going to fail.
Let's speak to that for a minute.
Spending today, we have situations of a whole lot of our
just a second, if you can hear me.
Key supporters are being offered money.
Yeah. Let's explore that for a bit, vote buying. Now, some have dichotomized vote buying from incentives. Which one are you using?
Well, we are not doing vote buying in terms of talking about incentives, giving people incentives because you want to get their vote. We have a serious situation in the state, which is people are poor, people can't eat. All we've been doing is to sell them hope. What we're selling to them is the hope of a better tomorrow, the hope of the fact that we'll be able to get them out of the poverty, out of poverty in 3 years. And a lot of them, through regenerative agriculture and all our other plans, of being able to empower them. And they're seeing that. And what we're doing is empowering people, creating a co-working spaces for students and the young people that will help them to be able to earn money for themselves.
Yeah, I get that, Mr. Braimoh, but you know, one of the things, the reason we ask is, you know, if politicians can say that, okay, we're not doing vote buying, we're just, you know, giving them something that they need. For instance, you just talked about the fact that people can't find food to eat because they can't even afford to buy the food. So is this something that you are also thinking about, just helping them to get by, you know, even before the elections? Because there are those who would say, we can't even find enough strength to get out of our homes. So if the next politician goes to them with food or, you know, food stuff for them to be able to eat and be strong enough to go vote, would that be a bad thing?
Well, I think the motive is it's important at this stage. And I would say prior to now, we have been empowering people, I mean, since 2015. In terms of helping our constituents, in terms of school fees payment, in terms of some sort of help for flood victims, help for those that are widows and living below poverty line. And we've been helping people out before now. Okay. And so it's not the election period that will make them to feel like, oh, it's only people that are able to help us during the election. So we are careful with that, for it not to be misconstrued. Okay. But we're doing our best to be able to help a couple of people working with us and working for us to help them get by the day.
All right, so, but you spoke about young people now, and it's rather concerning. At a good number of times, young people are largely disillusioned all over the nation, and it's a question we ask from time to time because that's the future. And if we do not prepare the young people for the future, let's just say that we are doomed in the future. So Chamberlain asked you questions around security or a lack of it the other time. And the people that are mostly used as cannon fodders are the same young people. So speaking specifically and directly to young people, what is your plan as a contestant? And whether or not you win, what will be your plan, your engagement to ensure that the young people today are not disillusioned about the future ahead of them?
Well, the solution to that problem in Kogi State, for instance, is wealth creation. Wealth creation is the foundation. We have to, as a matter of urgency, to help our people to start making money. That is a primary thing. That should be the focus right now, and that's what we're focused on. Because there's no community you get to in Kogi State today. You don't have a lot of young people that are graduates, jobless, and and they end up with drugs and all the other vices in our various communities. Our plan is to be able to help them out of poverty, teach them how to make money, and help them to make money. And in doing this, that's setting up co-working spaces is one of the areas. Vocational education is one of the areas, which is why I was talking about the STAT, our START agenda, as in to drive in money from solid minerals, tourism, agriculture, and trade. Because when you drive in money, if you don't drive in money into the economy, in development economics, you drive in cash flow, then you train people to provide the services. This is how we intend to engage the young people, training them through vocational studies to provide the services in the economy. Because you have to engage them to make money. Because if they are not making money, they will take to other vices. Because poverty, as it were, poverty breeds violence. Poverty breeds insecurity. So if we don't deal with the issue of getting wealth creation and wealth distribution, we will not be able to get our young people engaged. No matter the program you're putting in place, if they're not going to be able to make money, they will not be interested in it.
Well, one other thing. For instance,
in regenerative agriculture, all right, on our plan, on our manifesto, we intend to train 100,000 farmers over a period of 3 years, and giving CFO land, 1 hectare per farmer, issue them CFO, because when you give CFO, you are creating instrument for funding for the people. 1 hectare would take a household out of poverty for life in 24 to 36 months on regenerative agriculture, because they'll be producing about 37 tons of food annually from 1 hectare. And 1 hectare, we employ about 6 people per hectare. So you can imagine 100,000 hectares, we would have been able to engage about 600,000 people over the period of 3 years.
Okay.
Consumption per person per day per annum is about 780 kg, which means we will need about 86,000 hectares of land for us at 37 tons per hectare. For us to be able to even focus on food sufficiency.
All right.
Because food sufficiency in Kogi State will help us to be able to keep a lot of money in circulation within our economy. Okay. At an average of 500 naira per person per day in Kogi State, it means we're spending about 2.2 billion daily and about 66 billion naira every month. We'll be able to keep this money within circulation, which will increase the cash flow in circulation and helping more people out of poverty. Okay. We are bounded by 10 states with about 56 million people. We target to feed at least 15 million people daily. At average of 500 naira per day, it means about 7.5 billion naira daily money in circulation and about 750 billion every 100 days in our economy. When we achieve this, who are those that will be making the money? The farmers will make money. The traders will make money. Processing will make money. Storage will make money. Packaging will make money. You can see this value chain. When they make money, what do they spend their disposable incomes on? This is how we intend to activate and run our economy, because we must drive in cash flow and be able to provide the services. And the last one is trade. We are the gateway between the North and the South, because Chamberlain mentioned, what are the okay, you mentioned about, you asked a question about the advantages of Kogi State, and I was talking about the geographical configuration. We are the gateway between the North and the South. The southernmost pastoral state to the north to get food from Zamfara, from Sokoto, from Katsina, from Kano, and the northernmost pastoral state to Aba, to Onitsha, to Lagos. What we intend to do, everything you can get from the north we make available in Kogi, everything you can get from the south we make available in Kogi, thereby turning our state to a trade hub, a trade center. Everybody coming to buy and to sell in our state. And they will do 1 night, 2 nights of paying for hotel bills. When they're paying for hotels, our people are making money, and the government is making money. On the hotel sales I was talking about, if we're selling 10 million nights averagely a year, 10 million nights times 100,000, we mean that we'll have about 1 trillion naira cash inflow into our economy from hotel sales.
Okay, well, all of these plans that you're talking about, Mr. Braimoh, my apologies.
What part of the world?
Yeah,
hotel sales
just a second,
20%.
if you can hear me. These are lofty plans that you are, really talking about, and a good number of people would say, okay, this is the way to go, let's go with it. But then there is also the debacle of politics in Kogi State. So speak to the potency of your own party's campaign and political machinery to take on the system and beat other contestants that you are contending with. Because, that's the only thing standing, I would say, standing between you and the seat of government in Kogi State. So what is your political machinery's strength like to take on the system and win the polls?
It's engaging our people in conversations. And engaging our people in conversations, for instance, 40% of registered voters are young people, students, and youth. And I've been engaging this demographic consistently in the last few months. Some 3 months ago, you probably asked AA candidate in Kogi State, you could do your survey, independent survey in Kogi State, or Braimoh some 3 months ago. But that's not the case today. But today, we've been engaging our women, we've been engaging the youth, and the acceptability is there across. And today we have stalwarts of the PDP decamping to AA in Angpa. We have stalwarts of APC decamping to AA, and we've been receiving them. Even as a matter of fact, today, a lot of people are decamping from Adavi local government, from PDP, from APC to AA, Ajakuta. A lot of people are decamping tomorrow from Labour Party, from PDP, from APC, in Lokoja local government, both the Lokoja 1, Lokoja 2, people are decamping all over the state into AA. And we have a couple of stalwarts of these other parties that are decamping into our party. And we've been receiving them across the state and almost on a daily basis today. These are things just due to our engagement, selling our ideas, selling the vision, a clear vision of wealth creation, of wealth distribution, because people are tired of the poverty. Even those that are making money, they are tired of the fact that they are carrying more burden than they can bear in the state. So, and our message is well accepted all over the state. And that's why I'll tell you that in terms of the politics of it, I'm not afraid at all in any way. I'm confident of victory come November 11. And the slogan there in Kogi State today is 1111 AA, because we have a date with destiny. And with our date with destiny on the 11th of November, our people are going to turn out en masse to ensure that we come out victorious, because they are tired of being poor, of being dejected, ostracized, and frustrated in our state because of the poverty level that is unacceptable, unprecedented poverty level that has ravaged our state and our people.
Okay. One other issue that is not often talked about is accountability. Most of the time, the whole campaign, the whole idea is just vote for me and I'll do you well. I'll do well by you. I'll run your state to your advantage and all. But most of the time, once people get into office, to get access to these political office holders is usually a problem. How will your own governance be different, such that not only you, but your appointees will be accessible and accountable to people? So what's your system of accountability to the people of Kogi State should you win this election?
All right, it starts first from the vision, because you must have something you're offering the people. And it's what you're offering people today, that's what you'll be held by in terms of accountability. And like you have a vision, a goal of wealth creation. It means our set objectives will be make money, save money, and then grow the economy. And this, I mean, the level of activities of government. So when it comes to accountability, you will be held accountable, we'll be held accountable by what we're selling to the people today in terms of what vision. And that's why we're being clear with our vision, so that you can use that as a marker, as a yardstick to measure our performance in office. Because of the fact that we are telling our people, here is our vision. These are the things we intend to do, not just what to do, but how we intend to do these things. You know, so you can, that's what we're going to be used, that's what's going to be used to check our performance in office or our accountability in office.
So to the election proper, what are your fears and what are the things that you're optimistic about? By fears, I mean, what's the level of your satisfaction with the political umpire, beg your pardon, the election umpire, that's INEC, as well as the coordinating activities of the government of Kogi State?
Well, I think in terms of fears, I mean, the only concern today will be the issue of violence on the day of election. I mean, 2-3 days to election and on the day of election. That's my only fears. In terms of for INEC, I think going by the result of the last elections, this year, 2023 elections, and the fact that with Beavers, we've seen a whole lot of the loopholes and the lapses, and we believe that INEC will be looking at all of those areas. We've had engagement with INEC in the state, and we think they are ready, according to what they have said, that they are ready for all to be able to ensure that results are declared at the polling units. As long as results are declared at the polling units, we assure that everything will be transparent and will be okay. And of course, you can see from the tribunals today and the verdicts of the tribunal, I mean, it's clear that areas where there were manipulations, you know, people will always find justice, or mostly. We have the case of Kogi Central in the Senate election. We have recently the Nasarawa State, the PDP against the incumbent governor, APC. You know, so we are quite optimistic that the process is in place. I mean, like I always say, that one good thing that has come into our process is Beavers. And I think with Beavers, we are very optimistic that votes will count. Because I'll give you an example. Kogi Central, for instance, in 2019 elections, from 3 local governments of Adavi, Okene, and Okehi local government, the governor had about 212,000 votes thereabout from 3 local governments in 2019. But in 2023 elections, with Beavers, then there was no Beavers. With Beavers in 2023, the entire Central, the 5 local governments, the votes there was less than 110,000, you know, in 2023, when Beavers was used for the elections.
Okay.
So we are quite optimistic with that with Beavers, votes will count likely.
All right. We'll take a short break now to take a few messages, and when we return, it's back to Chamberlain. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back. It's our concluding moments now with the AA governorship candidate for Kogi State, Mr. Braimoh. Now, if I could just follow up a little bit on the INEC perspective here. They say, they put up a release some time ago, which I believe you've also seen, about the forthcoming elections. They say only 55% of the expected total of 189,180 polling unit agents have been uploaded to the designated INEC portal. For Kogi State, 37.6%, that's 23,720 out of 63,144 states have been uploaded. And then for the coalition agents, only 25.1% of the expected 15,804 coalition agents in the states have been uploaded. So that, we say, is a very, very little sum. And deadline stays, it won't close. So despite the interaction with political parties, even yours, they say the numbers are abysmal. What informs this seeming apathy?
I mean, we have 18 candidates in Kogi State. And, all the political parties feature candidates. But you get to understand that a lot of these, some other political parties, their candidates are just there or either being sponsored just to occupy the space to prevent some other people from coming into the race. So a whole lot of those, I mean, you could probably pinpoint the number of candidates that are even campaigning. Lots of candidates are there as candidates, but they are not campaigning. They're not even doing anything at all. So probably maybe we have maybe 5 or so candidates out of 18 that are campaigning at all. So those that are not campaigning, of course, they will not be interested in featuring polling unit agents because it's a task and it costs money. I mean, to have your agents around the 3,508 polling units. So a whole lot of these parties don't have candidates, and thereby, they have candidates, but the candidates are not really contesting.
Now, just as we wind down again, now, some time ago in Kogi State, about 519 communities, 171,000 persons were displaced. And then the Commissioner for Health also went on to say that about 92 persons' facilities were disrupted and 24 people died as a result of flooding in Kogi State. How do you intend to address this?
First of all, in terms of flooding, the dredging of the River Niger cannot be overemphasized. Federal government, I mean, there's always money in the budget year in, year out for the dredging. But the federal government don't have money to dredge River Niger. They've been telling us the newer they're going to dredge every year. And this flooding, it's been on for a very long time. So what we intend to do is to engage the federal government, to have a BOT arrangement, build, operate, and transfer arrangement with the federal government by setting up an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, to raise cash, equity, part equity, part debt. Also be able to move it to the private sector to carry out the dredging. Because if we're able to dredge the Niger, and then on a BOT arrangement, we'll be able to have maybe 20, 30, or 50 years, depending on the feasibility and the viability. That's one.
Okay, yeah.
So the other one is to build dams, where we can harvest excess water, down the line across various other channels, because we need to be able to harvest water to support dry season farming across. Instead of the water being a problem for us, we should be able to make the most of a devastating situation to take advantage of that.
So you don't seem to agree with those who think that those communities are actually on the path. That particular terrain is a flawed path, and so they shouldn't be there in the first place.
There are some communities that are on the flawed path. Of course, we need to relocate those communities from those flawed paths. But however, what about the communities that are not on the flawed path? Well, because of the excess water. You look at the River Niger, some part of it, the sand is so much that it's actually come up to the surface in some part. So, and that's why the water transportation is even difficult in some parts, because of the amount of sand, the level of sand that's come up. And even this sand can be used in our own advantage because it's a lot of money when you're able to move out this sand and then we use this sand in construction. Because in our tourism plan, we will need to develop about 375,000 square meter of hotels and shotlets, buildings for shotlets, which will require a huge tonnage of sharp sand. You know, in terms of infrastructure, for school infrastructure, health facilities, and all of this, the construction level that will require a lot of sharp sand for this.
Let me pick up on that health part because he says 92 health facilities were affected. And so that already takes a dent, huge dent on already challenging health facilities, not just in Kogi, but across the country. So what do you intend to do that this state government hasn't done to improve health care in Kogi State?
The problem with healthcare is accessibility and affordability. Those are the two major problems, accessibility and affordability. In terms of accessibility, it requires funding. Huge funding for accessibility, and they have to be strategically located. In terms of affordability, I mean, compulsory health insurance to be able to leverage for those that can afford and those that will not be able to afford, to be able to leverage and create a balance to help people for affordability, to help compulsory health insurance. That's what we intend to do. And that's why I keep talking about the fact that what we need today as a matter of urgency in Kogi State is that we have to drive in cash flow into our economy for the government to be able to make money. Because the only money we are making right now as a state is the money from federal allocation.
But you have to provide the healthcare first before they access it. If it isn't there, what are they going to access?
We have to make investment. We have to invest hugely in healthcare. Because from our survey, in terms of service availability for health, primary health care in the state, in most part, you have the building, but nothing inside, no personnel, no equipment inside. So, and in some places, you have equipment in dilapidated buildings. So it requires huge investment, which we intend to do. We were in a particular community in Akwasu yesterday night, Akwasu, Gurinya axis, no school, no hospital, no primary health care in the whole region. So if you're sick and you don't know anybody in the local government headquarters, which is Kotokarfi, you will not have any help. And your kids can't go to school if you don't know anybody, if any member of your family is not living in Kotokarfi.
All right, so quite a job of work there, but we're going to keep our focus, our tabs on those elections and see how all of that plays out. Olayinka Braimoh, governorship candidate of Action Alliance for the forthcoming Kogi governorship elections. Thank you for coming on, and all the best to you.
Thank you for having me.
We will be back in just a moment, and incidentally, we'll be talking health. Don't go away.